So, World War III is actually here, and it's a world economic sanction. It's using sanction as a weapon. It's not. It's not the old traditional boots on the ground kind of a war that is being waged in this 21st century. And people who are trying to have a better life, um, better health care, housing, food, education. So it's an economic war. And this is really due to Western sanctions. Now, this war in Ukraine, or as the Russians said, it's a special military operation. And all of this could have been avoided. America could still maintain its number one superpower position. And if they were really working and were willing to work with people, I mean, the sanction affects almost everyone on earth, you know. Even individuals are being sanctioned. Look at the oligarchs in Russia. A lot of those people have absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in Ukraine. Um, Yet they are being sanctioned. Another thing that I want to look at here that also is feeling an effect from this World War III economic sanction is how Western men and women are working so hard to contain China. Imagine that. China was, I would say 40, 50 years ago, a very poor country. China has taken 800 million people out of poverty. And I think this is something to be celebrated. If this was something that was done by the West, they would be celebrating and telling the world that this is how real democracy works and how democratic they are. But no, Western men and women are saying we should contain China. And they are telling the world that what China is doing is bad for everyone. China is a danger. It's a communist country. It's not healthy. Now, another thing that we need to look at and to really understand that this is World War III, the economic sanctions and how it works. Look at BRICS. BRICS, the Europeans are saying that we should also contain BRICS. Now, these are emerging countries. These are economies that are trying to be able to feed their people and to give their people a better life. The West is saying contain them. Now, this is really, really crazy. And they are expecting civilized people to believe all of this nonsense and this trickery. Now, to see how this World War III economic sanction affects people, if you're in Germany and you have a trucking business, and say, let's say you get parts to fix your vehicle if it has problems, and you get those parts from Russia. Now, you can't get those parts from Russia anymore. So you are being sanctioned. If you're a farmer in Mexico and you plant potatoes and you get your fertilizer, for example, say from Russia, you can't get fertilizer anymore. So you are being sanctioned. If you're a mother, say, let's say you live in Trench Town in the inner city in Kingston, and you usually get, say, Pampers and baby formulas from China, you can't get it anymore. And usually a lot of these countries and mothers in these particular areas, they will buy products that comes from China because the price is more affordable rather than those made in Europe, usually carry a much higher price. So she's down there, living in the inner city, has no share and part with this special military operation, yet she's being sanctioned. And it's a deliberate thing. If you look at inflation, since the special military operation has begun, if you look at what the West does, you can't get a lot of the things you used to purchase. So whatever you can get, it's at a higher price. So that's inflation right there. You know. Now, when you look at how President Biden deliberately insult people like Putin, said that he look in the man's eyes and tell him that he's a murderer. Xi Jinping, I look at him and tell him he's a dictator. I mean, all this kind of a language is actually designed for the world to believe that these people are evil and they shouldn't be trusted and you should not do business with them. And they're uncivilized, and only the West should be trusted. If you are one of those persons who, for example, did not take side with the West when they claim that, well, the world is against Putin. If you didn't take the Western side, then you are blacklisted and you are called a Putin apologist. So that's how the sanction thing works. And what it does also, it weakens economy. I heard President Biden say that, well, the sanction is not working the way it should be working. And he's right. He also said that he knew that it wouldn't affect the Russian economy that much. He's also right in that. What he really meant was that the global economy is not falling at the level that the West wants to see the global economy falls. We must remember that the West, they have always have something to fall back on, like the World Bank, the IMF. So they don't worry at all. Their system is set. As a matter of fact, during COVID, some of the fastest growing millionaires during COVID or during the lockdown period were people living in the Western countries. Most of them. A lot of millionaire comes out of COVID. So when most people weren't even making any money. Right? So with all of this going on, you have countries that are struggling because of inflation. Then the West will blame your leader and telling that it's your leader's fault, particularly if they haven't taken side with the West. Then you usually have civil war, political assassination, and don't be surprised. You know, the CIA have been involved in behaviors like this in the past. So they are looking for a real shakedown. Then they put up their puppet leaders. They might give them a $40 million loan over a 30-day period. The people still have to pay for that loan. You know, sometimes these puppets will squeeze off a $5 million, put it in their account. Some Western countries' banking system. There's no check and balance on that because now he's the West buddies. Pat him on the shoulder. Usually the West is making sure that they are dealing with countries that have natural resources that they can have. You know. So these puppet bargain off their resources for pennies. So that's why this whole unipower thing, the universe is just run by America alone, is a dangerous thing. Because when you have a single power, they control your educational system, job opportunities, healthcare, housing, because they use money and sanctions as a weapon now. It's not necessarily slavery. 99% of the people in this world have to be working for a living for the most part, working real hard. You have 1% who really have the power, the financial resources, and they want to keep it that way. Look at India. They took a jab at India. America took a jab at India. Oh, you don't agree with, you're not taking sides? India is sitting on the fence. That's how they describe it. Because India, the world's largest democratic country, is sitting on the fence. I tell you this, if Russia and China is not able to move ahead, and if the BRICS nation are not able to move ahead, because listen, one of the things is that the Western men and women claim that basically China slips through the cracks. So do you think they would allow India to move up like China? So India just have to be careful who they support in this ongoing world economic sanction. We want a civilized and a peaceful world. Forget about the neocons, right?